this came out in 2015. So this is Sam Chand, Leadership Pain. This was a very timely, painful book in the sense of Sam Chand, world-renowned leader and coach. He wrote this book and he wrote it at the time. So I picked this up probably 2015, 16, just as I was going through some leadership pain. All leadership will go through painful experiences. But at that time, I was going through some issues and some things in my leadership that all of a sudden the book, if it did anything, it didn't help me in the pain. It helped me to stand in the pain. Pain is part of leadership. That's the mandate of the book. And if you ask me, what's the best part of the book? Just the fact that it says, if you are experiencing pain, then you're probably leading. And if you've been leading, pain is part of the game that you're signing up to. And I think what he does, he opens up the whole conversation of sometimes as leaders, we think that we can change things without pain. Sometimes we think that we can lead without pain. But at any time somebody stands up, there's pain involved because change has to happen. And that's where the pain comes in. And so at the time for me, it was a really helpful, almost like a backboard to my life that just said, okay, I'm going through this. I can get through it. This is part of leadership. And what he talks about is you can only rise to the level of your pain threshold. So when it comes to pain, if you give in at that moment, when you're feeling the pain, that's the lid on your leadership. So if you can push through and become better rather than bitter through the pain, then you have another level. You're into a new level. And for me, I think I was really important going through some of the stuff that we were trying to work through, things that I was going through internally. It helped me think, okay, so I've just got to get through this. Sometimes it's standing. Paul says, haven't done all to stand then. You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing that came to me. And it allowed me to understand it's okay to be in the pain. It's okay to understand the pain. The pain will grow you if you'll allow it to, rather than give into it.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to find out how you can utilize that pain, because I think most ministers will have, witnessed and experienced some kind of pain in leadership, whether it's, pushback to an idea or anything else. And what are some keys that you talked about standing up? Are there any keys that the book helps to unlock in terms of being able to just stand up? It's not getting rid of the pain, as you said, but is there anything that book kind of unlocks about being able to stand up in the pain?
Yeah, the encouragement is that you go through pain because you bring in change. So leadership challenges pain. There's a sense in which if you're not bringing leadership, there's a sense in which you can live without pain. But if you're going to be a leader, then understanding that there's going to be pain. Sometimes I think the problem for us is we do fall into the trap because we're so positive as Christians, as faith people, that everything is going to change and it's going to happen easily. We're going to get this vision done. We're going to climb this mountain, but we're not going to be out of breath. We're going to go up as if we're going down. All of those kind of things. And I think what the book says is standing and understanding pain is a part of this. And what he does at the end of each chapter, he gives a reference of a church or a leader who's gone through pain and why they went through it. Sometimes it can be, somebody let them down, somebody failed them in leadership, somebody, maybe a board member or a board went against them, maybe they lost their job. And he talks about how they transitioned through that pain and kept their heart clean, but then come out the other side and were able to go again. Sometimes we can't fix what happens to us, but we can always fix what's happening in us. And so it's that thing of, okay, guard your heart. It's the wellspring of life. Make sure that you're thinking correctly about what's taking place. Own where you need to. And that's obviously part of pain. Am I making the mistake here? Have I done wrong? Is there something I need to correct? So all of those things, as you walk through it, it helps you understand, okay, I'm not alone in this. I think that was the key for me at the time. Reading each chapter, at the end of each chapter, these are good leaders experiencing some pain. Right, okay, this is not foreign. This is actually the ground we're in. And, we look at David taking on Goliath, and that's brilliant. But there were plenty of times at Ziklag when his men wanted to stone him, and, all of that reverse kind of thing going on. Life is complicated, leadership is complicated. But as we stand and understand what God is building in us, then he can make so much more out of us because of the ability, if you like, to understand the pain better. So I think it was that understanding of pain that was the power of it for me. Okay, this pain can build me rather than break me if I'll stand through it and if I'll activate what I need to.
Great. Yeah, yeah. And, the best example, I think, in scripture is Jesus. He had so much pain in his leadership. And to think that we can go pain-free in our leadership if Jesus didn't. And, you look in the New Testament, you look at Peter, you look at Paul, they all of the apostles, they faced pain in their life. And I think that's a sign that can be actually an encouraging sign. It's going to be a comforting sign that we can take comfort that all the the great leaders before us and Jesus himself has experienced pain in leadership, and I think that's definitely a comforting thought. There's another thought that I had, which was I heard a quote from someone in America called Dan Ryland, who's a pastor out in Atlanta, and he said that if you change something and no one gets mad, that you just change something that no one cares about.
Completely.
And I think I think that probably starts to unlock what Sam Chand is seeming to be getting at in this book. Is that kind of on the right angle of things?
Yeah, completely. And I think as leaders, we are taking people where they don't want to go. You know what I mean? That is the thing that we're doing and moving them. It's not that they don't want to go there. It's like all of us, we're resistant to change just by the nature of being human beings. We like comfort, we like predictable, we're like, oh, this is the way we do it. And then as a leader comes along and starts to move them, it's painful for people, but that means painful reactions. And I think, the porcupine comes up very often and we end up feeling the prickles of people. Pain is part of the deal.
And I heard something recently, which was if you take the Exodus story as a metaphor, we think in church leadership, it's we're leaving the Egypt where we were, and we're going to go into the promised land, and we forget the 40 years of testing in the wilderness. And sometimes you can leave something where you say, okay, we can't stay here, and where you go to, everyone kind of gets upset because they back there was better. So I think that there's so many brilliant stories in scripture. I'm sure that this book as well speaks to that. So yeah, I think that's a really fascinating topic that I think every leader needs to read into. So thank you so much for that.